only blood can bind.
Is what transpired in the most recent episode of The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. Before we begin, please like and subscribe to this channel. There will be huge episode 5 spoilers while observing the surroundings close to Ravanian Nori Brandifoot. Markella Kavanaugh teaches the stranger Daniel Wayman of words and concepts related to the Harfoot culture, including the different perils they encounter. The stranger worries that he is a peril in himself, soon after the two reunite with the Harfoot caravan, which is being pulled by the Brandyfoots and Poppy Proudfellow as they continue their arduous trek. They sing as they proceed past the Grey Marshes Trout Bend and onto the Braidsa mountain range. Poppy sings this wandering day. Nori observes the stranger gazing up at the stars. One night, a pale figure identified as the dweller Bridie Sisson with prominent blue eyes and donning a white robe and cowl surveys the crater where the stranger initially crashed in Ravanian. She is joined by two more enigmatic figures, the nomad Edith Poor and the ascetic. Who are they and why are they looking for the stranger? The dark owl Joseph Maywell warns an orc in the Southlands that the portion of him that senses the sun will soon disappear, and to call in the legions has he begun to resemble an orc. Brahmin Anna Ronder addressed the crowd assembled at the watchtower and provide them with the Dar's ultimatum. Bronwyn appeals to everyone in the room to join her in resisting the advancing evil forces. Many of them quickly offer to fight the orcs. Waldrig counters that they won't get it through this and should join him to oath allegiance to Adar. Eventually, a large number of people go with Waldrig, but Theo decides not to join them. A pleasant surprise. Elendil, Anna Sodder, Arin, and Ment are getting the ships ready to sail for Middle-earth. The Silver requests to be picked from among the volunteers to travel because he was rejected, but Lendl points out that he is not a member of the Sea Guard, the Queen's Guard, or any other groups, and has not demonstrated enough dedication to be chosen to go. Elendil's daughter Irian, who opposes the voyage along with others, tries to meet with Chancellor Pharazim Tristan Gravel. Inside the palace, Irian encourages Ferris and son Keeman Leon Wadam to voice his opposition to the mission. More forcefully, guards kidnap Halbrand Charlie Vickers from the blacksmith shop and bring him to Queen Regent Reel and Galadriel Morfod Clark, where he gives them advice on where the enemy will move next. Galadriel was right that Halbrand is less eager to go back to Middle-earth than she was, but the elf says you will still want to fight. Halbrand declines to attend despite Galadriel's announcement that 500 people in 5 ships will travel to the Southlands to aid his people. The man does not want to take on his obligations. Malva Thusitha Jayasandra informs Sadok Burrows Sir Lenny Henry that some members of the Harford caravan are worried that the Brandyfoots are slowing them down in a dreadful barren forest in Middle-earth. The group soon comes under attack from large wolves after Nori first notices their tracks. However, before one can attack Nori, the stranger throws one away before he uses magic strike on the floor to repel them and drive them away. The action leaves marks on the stranger's arm. Tar Palante, Arken Blackburn, the father of Queen Regent Muriel, encourages her not to go to Middle-earth and warns her that darkness awaits her there. During their conversation about the arrangements for the trip in the Royal Tower, I'm sorry, the stranger was holding his hand in a pool of water that was freezing around his arm when Nori returned to the jungle. When Nori touches him, her hand and arm both start to get frozen. The stranger begins to chant, and as he does so, Nori is flung away by an ethereal force. When the stranger approaches Nori, she flees in terror. Around him, trees start to sway in the elven kingdom of Linden. Prince Durin Ivy dines with Elrond, Robert Aramio, Lord Celebramper, and Hiking Gilgala. Durin notes that the material that the table is made from is sacred to his people, and Gilgalad apologizes and offers it to the prince. Elrin questions Gilgalad later about the true reason for his travel to the dwarf city of Khazad-dûm. The two remember a tale of how an elf and a Balrog of Morgoth fought over a tree which was then hit by lightning, and how the tree's roots fed an ore into the mountain's roots. Mithril, this is how the precious jewels of the Silm Roll were created. Realizing what the High King is currently seeking, when a cylinder approaches on Tomo Anthony Crumb. He is having a conversation with his fiancée at a pub in Meaner. The Selder apologizes and requests to go to Middle-earth with them. After a brief beating, the landlord declines Assadar's offer of free blows to his body and says he lacks the devotion and capacity to make sacrifices. Timon goes aboard one of the ships that is about to leave and makes an effort to ignite a fire by spilling alcohol inside Keeman, though overhears the Dazilder has hidden himself. Aboard, the Sodder struggles with Keeman after realizing what he is doing, but Keeman drops his lantern, Sparking a fire, Galadriel, who is observing the catastrophe from the palace, tries to convince Queen Regent Reel that this is an attempt to deter her from her purpose. Then Pharazôn tries to persuade Reel to back out of the expedition. The Queen Regent instructs Galadriel to summon Halbrand to their deliberations, and Elendil requests instructions on him. The following morning, the council will meet to debate. Lord Celebramer apologizes to Elrond and Lindon for keeping Galad's goals a secret. Once more, Elrond is urged to turn on Durin in order to get Mithril, in order to save the elves and enshroud them in the light of the valor. Celebramer recalls Elrond's father's departure to complete his own mission, and how Elrond's mother tried to stop him, but he noted he was the only one to complete the mission. Was this now Elrond's own situation? Galadriel approaches Halbrand, and Denmenor invites him to the meeting with Reel. Halbrand mentions that he once engaged in combat alongside the opposition and says that Menor and she would desert him if the truth about his past came to light. Halbrand claims he made a vow never to go back to Middle-earth and queries Galadriel as to why she keeps battling. Galadriel replies that she can't stop because her brother was killed by Sauron's minions. Halbrand apologizes to Galadriel and expresses regret. Galadriel advises him to go back to Middle-earth and battle in order to discover his own sense of serenity. Meanwhile, Warrig and his followers arrive at the camp of Adar and his orcs to swear fealty, swearing undying service and loyalty to Sauron, who he believes Adar is, although the Dark Elf does not confirm this. Waldrig is then approached by Adar, who throws him to the floor. Waldrig is then ordered by Adar to kill Theo's friend Rowan, Ian Blackburn, to make a blood oath and bind him to Adar. It's not looking good for Rowan. Overall, this episode felt like it was moving pieces into place for more notable plot advancements. Don't say filler. We now know who is heading to Middle-earth from Númenor, and Halbrand appears to be claiming his heritage in the Southlands just in time as Adar looks set to slaughter those who do not swear fealty there. The episode also makes clear that there is a political divide under the surface in Númenor, and that maybe the Queen Regent should not trust her cousin Pharazôn. Elsewhere, we see more and more evidence of the stranger's magical abilities, and now see that he is being pursued by a trio of enigmatic figures. This series has no shortage of those. Finally, we have some revision of Tolkien lore regarding the film rules in Mithril, but will make for an intriguing dynamic between the elves and dwarves going ahead. Hopefully next week will give some of the answers and developments we seek.